friends, welcome to Stay Stitching. My name is Carla. I am here today to talk to you about the Grainline Studio Tamaracjk Jacket. This might be a long one because I have a lot to say about it. All right, so I tried to make extensive notes that were more organized than the ones for my Ames jeans. So I'm just going to get right into it. I'm wearing it, by the way, and I might take it off at some point and show you, or I might leave it on, I don't know. So first of all, this jacket goes from size 0 to 18, and it is labeled as an advanced beginner. I was annoyed because I kind of thought that it wouldn't fit me because I didn't fit in with the body measurements. But as you can see here, and from my twirl at the end of the video, it fits just fine. And so I was thrilled about that. I actually really like the fit of it. So the only fitting change that I would make for next time is I would take an inch off the sleeve. The sleeves are a little bit too long for me, but not like enough to hinder my movement. So for the construction was really straightforward. I left off the welt pocket. There's welt pockets in here. And I used pre-quilted fabric. So I did not have to do the quilting. So this jacket was one of those makes that was one problem after another. It just literally was a comedy of errors with every single thing that went wrong. For starters, I did not buy enough of this quilted fabric. I do not know how I did that. I can't even begin to imagine how I made that grave of an error. I mean, I looked at the pattern, or so I thought, before I bought the fabric. And so maybe I looked at the 60 inch and my quilted fabric was only 45 inches. I don't know what happened, but there was no way on earth I had enough fabric after cutting the two front pieces and back piece to even get one sleeve, much less two. And so while we're talking about the pre-quilted fabric, I don't like it very much. I might like it after I wear it for a while, but it's a little bit stiff for me, for my liking. I would like for it to be drapier. When I see all the photographs of other people's Tamarack jackets that they have quilted, and they're using beautiful cottons and linens, and their jackets just look so awesome. They have that little wrinkly bit that you get when you wash and dry fabric after quilting. I don't know. So that makes me not really like this Joann's quilted fabric, and I won't buy it again. So that was my first problem with the quilted fabric. So then I decided, well, how am I going to fix this? Am I going to run up to Joann's, which is no big deal. There's a Joann's in my city. It's 15 minutes from my house. It's not a problem. Or am I going to try to make it work here in the house? So I came up here to Mayfield Fabric and I got some of our crocodile embossed, or lizard, I would say maybe lizard embossed pleather. And that is what I used for the arms. And I really loved working with it. It's a breeze to cut out. Oh my gosh, it's so easy to cut out. It's so easy to sew. It has a nice fabric backing. It doesn't feel uncomfortable to wear. So that I consider a win. And not only do I consider it a win, I actually really like the way that it looks. So if I had had enough fabric for the arms, I would never have thought to do this. And I think that I took this jacket from just being fine to being pretty cool. And I feel like this is going to be a good part of my wardrobe. I have a jacket from Coldwater Creek that I have had, gosh, I must have had that thing for close to 10 years. And it has a leather front, real leather, and the back and the arms are sweater knit. I still wear it, And I'm telling you, I get a compliment on that sweater every single time I wear it. And I always think, gosh, I've got to get this out of my wardrobe. It's time to let it go. And I never have. And I kind of feel like this jacket is going to have the same kind of vibe to me as that sweater jacket does. So I loved that. So once I decided to use the pleather for the arms, I decided that I wanted pleather binding, okay? Instead of making my own, I decided I wanted pleather binding. So I went searching for that, and where I found it was on Etsy, and I bought it. So a day or two after I bought it, when they shipped it, I realized that I had bought pleather binding from Turkey. Turkey. It says Turkey right there. From Istanbul. And I was like, well, that's just fantastic. This jacket is going to take 1,000,000 years to make. And so I waited. It sat for 3 weeks while I waited for my pleather binding to come in. And then I ordered some more binding. I bought this binding. It's black satin binding, 50 yards. I bought this from Dove Trim, I think. I'm not sure what the company was. Two things happened. I got this after I got this, so I couldn't use it. And it's the wrong stuff. This is traditional bias binding. It folds to 1/2 inch. So this stuff is 1 inch wide. So when you fold it over, you have a 1/2 inch finish. When this is finished, maybe it does have 1/2 inch finish. Okay, yeah, well, all right, so this would work. Now that I'm looking at this, I thought I had bought binding that totally wouldn't work. Let me take this out of here. 50 yards of it. No, this would work. Okay, well, that makes me feel a little bit better because this was $40. $40. $10. The pattern was $16. The fabric was $20. Not even charging myself for the fabric from Mayfield. And then I used 2 covered button kits. But those were already in my stash, so I'm not even charging myself for those. So I'm saying that this jacket costs $86 to make. And I'm also saying that you could probably buy one just exactly like this or very close to it for less than $86. But I still have some of this left. And I have 50 yards of this. So, let's see what else. Before I talk about the final thing, I really love this jacket. I intend to make it again next year. I kind of think that I might make this an annual thing because this is exactly the kind of thing that you need in Colorado. For most of the year, especially the area that I live in. And I want, a whole wardrobe of them because I think that it's a really great little jacket. And so I want to make another one next year. I think I might make it like a standard January thing that I make a Tamarack every single January. And I will definitely quilt my own fabric this time. And I will buy the Warm and Natural cotton quilting so that so that the whole thing feels delicious. Because none of this feels delicious. I think it looks good, but it doesn't feel delicious to wear. I covered my buttons, and I think they turned out beautifully. I am so impressed by these. I covered 5 of them, so I have an extra one if one falls off. And after I was kind of measuring where I wanted the buttons to go, I realized that I didn't really need 5 because I didn't really want a button down here. Now, these buttonholes, which are stunning, I did on my 1947 Singer 201. I know that I yammer on about that machine all the time, but it is such a great machine. And I got one of my buttonholers that I've had for a long time, a few years, and I've never used it because I've been intimidated by it. It's from the 40s. I have two of them. I have several buttonholers from different eras, but I have two of the ones from the 40s, which are the ones that are highly sought after. They come in a green coffin, not the Jetson one, but a green rectangular coffin. And I meant to grab that and bring that up and show that to you. But I watched a YouTube video on that, and I have the book, and I just followed the directions. And oh my gosh, what a magical device to watch that thing make a buttonhole. And they are so perfect. I was stunned. I made keyhole buttonholes, and they are a little tight for these buttons. And so you can, and I used the biggest one I had, you can make them any size. You just have to do a little starting and stopping. And for my very first time, actually the first time I used it was for my Ames jeans, and it made a gorgeous buttonhole on those. And then I made these 4 buttonholes for my second 4. So I've used it 5 times, 6 times if you include the one practice buttonhole that I did that was so perfect. I was like, well, why continue practicing this? And I went straight into my Ames jeans. The very second buttonhole I ever made with that buttonholer was on my Ames jeans. So if you have an old straight stitcher and you're kind of reluctant to use it because you don't have, the capacity to make buttonholes, let's face it, 90% of our sewing, unless you're working with knits, I realize, is straight stitching. And so why not have what many consider to be the greatest straight stitch machine ever made? Many consider it to be that. And then have the buttonholer, which is not hard to use. And so I'm feeling a little smug about my setup. I still have my computerized machine that I can do, a stretch stitch and all that stuff. Plus I have the 2 sergers. Plus I have vintage machines that have all different kinds of embroidery stitches. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Except for that I need a cover stitch machine. Yes, I do. I've been thinking a lot about it, and I'm thinking I might go with a Janome only because we have a Janome dealer here in Pueblo. And I thought, why not go with a machine? First of all, support a small business here in Pueblo, because let's face it, sewing places are going away. And so why not support them? And then if something goes wrong, they're right here, and I don't have to ship it off to Thailand or India or someplace to get it fixed. So the last thing I want to talk to you about, and the only thing that makes me say that this jacket isn't perfect, is while I was sewing on the pleather, it started to like twist. Can you see here? It's hard for me to describe, but I think, if you can see it, how it's wavy and twisted. And so I know that many of you who watch my channel are much more experienced seamstresses than I am. And so I have a question, because I want to use this again, because I like it. I think it's cool. It makes me feel edgy, because let's face it, there's few people that are more boring or obedient, in life than I am. And so I like to do things that make me feel tough. I like to cuss when I'm not around my students, and when I'm not filming a YouTube video. It makes me feel tough and, edgy. And I like to put this black plastic binding on stuff. And so do I need to use one of those feet that have the little roller on it? I have one of those. Or do I need to use a silicone foot? I've heard of those. I don't think I have one. Or do I need to buy a walking foot that fits my 201? So please leave in the comments below what you think I need to do in order to get a more perfect finish on this pleather, because I'm going to make a wrap sometime this month. And it is, I've shown it to you in a video before. I showed it to you in my coat video where I was asking you which fabric you want me to use for the coat. And this is the navy blue or black, I can't remember, and green plaid that was super drapey. And I have a pattern from Indigo Junction that's just like a flowy wrap. It can be a vest, it can be just a shawl, it can do all these kinds of things. It's sort of magical. And so I want to make it out of that fabric, and I want to bind it in this. And so before I do that, I want to figure out exactly how to get a better finish with my binding, because even though this isn't awful and I will wear it, and people who aren't sewers probably won't notice, I would like to do a better job next time. And then my final question is, can I maybe try to press this a little bit, like with a press cloth or something? I wasn't sure if it would melt, and so I haven't tried pressing it straight. So please let me know what you think about that. And Grainline Studio Tamaracjk, I give it a big thumbs up. I really enjoyed making it. I know that welt pockets are a little bit tedious, but I did not put those in. And so the way I did it, it was super fun and easy. I enjoyed it. My next one, I will probably leave the welt pockets off again, but I will quilt the jacket. So that will be the next thing that I do. All right, that's it. I hope you're having a fantastic day and that you come back and see me again real soon. Take care. Hi friends, this is the Tamarack jacket by Grainline Studio.
How long did it take you to put those buttons on there?
Not too long. Had to make them, had to have help from my husband.
Oh yeah, well, that's right.